Hello, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy. Today, the role of ball position in perfecting your golf swing. Let's look at what it affects, how it would be different for different clubs. I believe different for different levels of players. Also, there's some variables and lies you might encounter. We'll touch on that at the end. Well, that was a 9-iron shot there. Now, your ball position affects what the club does to the ball, because as a general rule, and a general rule only, your club is going to bottom out about under your center. So let's briefly, this is going to be important, let's look at the differences between, say, a driver and a short iron, what we're trying to do, and that will inform us as we go forward about what's needed for ball position for different clubs. So in this case, we're hitting a 9-iron, and let's have a look at the impact conditions. So there's the weight shift. Hands, notice hands beyond the ball before contact. So when you have forward shaft lean, we'll get into this in a minute outside, you're going to hit your irons more solidly. The bottom of your swing, the divot is going to be beyond the ball, which is, of course, what we're looking for in a short iron. Okay, quickly, let's cover something. I get this question a lot as a golf instructor. They say, well, why turn a 9-iron into a 7 loft? Why not just hit a 7? Well, there's reasons for that. Number one, the sweet spot's up on the club a bit. It's not at the bottom edge. If you come in like this, you're going to catch the ball on the bottom of the club a lot. Number two, when you can lean the shaft, you can hit the ball before you get to the true point, low point of the swing. In other words, my divot's going to be in front of the ball, not behind it. Number three, you can apply pressure better like this than you can like that. You could hit a baseball like this. You wouldn't be playing for the New York Yankees, I'll tell you that. Okay. Next thing, driver. Why is it different? If you picture a golf ball, in testing, a zero lofted driver applies pressure to the ball the most efficiently. In other words, it creates the most ball speed. The trouble is, it doesn't give you any launch angle or spin, so it's basically useless for golf. So what we're trying to do, if we can tilt the ball and tilt the equator, strike it this way, we can compress it without excessively spinning it and still get a nice high launch. Now, just to show you visually the picture difference, I'll show you Tiger Woods years ago hitting a short iron and a driver in the same round. Tiger Woods here back in his fantastic heydays, hitting a short iron, as you can see on the left there, and a driver on the right. And just notice, now certainly width of stance is a factor. It's a lot wider for the driver. He's tilted a little bit more behind it. That's a factor. But the ball position, you can see, puts it more in line with his front shoulder versus, say, his, not quite the middle of his face. So that changes the dynamic there. If I could just put in a message, at Scratch Golf Academy, we had a massive crash of the site, but we have rebuilt it. We'd love to invite you to go to the link below and have a free 14-day trial. No sticking credit card numbers in there, no tricks. Love you to just go there and check it out. I would really appreciate that as we're trying to rebuild, if you'd like. All right, let's get to Tiger. So here we go. Let's get into the downswing, and I'm going to get rid of those lines. And there's impact. We have a perfect impact shot. You'll see forward shaft lean here. That equates to downward hit. Now, I don't have a precise impact shot here, but you'll see he's pretty much reaching the low point before the ball, and just after he hits it, he's catching it a bit on the upstroke. So ball position is going to make a lot of difference, along with stance width, in where the low point of your swing is. So as you can see, ball position, width of stance as well, certainly relate a lot to how the ball relates to my body center. Now, a couple of other things that influence it that are in the swing and influence it significantly. Where is your weight when you swing? You look at Woods hitting that iron, his weight is probably 85 to 90% here. That moves the bottom of the swing over. That affects, of course, where you straighten your wrist, where you release the club. That affects it as well. Now, much less common, it's still a fact, is the path you swing on. If you're in here, you'll hit the ground sooner than if you're coming there. But we're going to, for the purposes of this video, just assume reasonable swing mechanics, and that's not what we're tackling. So answer me this question. Does Dustin Johnson, premier player, hits it about 320 in the air, does he look through impact like a typical 70-year-old that's had both hips replaced? I don't think so. Should they therefore have the same ball position? Of course not. They won't hit the ball solidly. So for the less gifted or athletic or dynamic golfer, the ball's going to have to be a little bit more back in the middle. If you're as dynamic as some of these lads and lasses are on the tour, you can play it a little bit more forward for sure, because you're creating impact habits that cause the low point to be there. Another factor, though, is what club are you using? Does that affect it? It does. Let's have a close-up look. So as discussed, for a driver, it's different. The ball's teed up. We can hit the low point here and catch it on the upstroke, not for a ball on the fairway. Now, here's a 9-iron. Sweet spot's about 3-4 grooves up. We need forward shaft lean to really get that ball on the sweet spot there. But when you look at that in comparison with, say, a 3-wood, way less loft, sweet spot's about midway up, you don't need all that shaft lean. So a 3-wood, you could play a little bit more forward than a 9-iron because you don't need as much shaft lean at impact. Okay, closing thought. These are important. No patterns. If all you know is this guy on the internet said to play it here, but my club pro said there, and you have no real idea what that causes, what changes that makes, you are just going to be confused. You're not going to get yourself better. This isn't difficult stuff. If you understand a little bit what I'm trying to get the club to do to the ball in different conditions, that is to say a tee shot versus a fairway wood versus a short iron, you can start to figure it out. As we've shown you, there are variables. You've got to find out what's right for you. Now, let me just say this. If you play the ball, let's say you're not a very dynamic hitter and you release it early, you start playing it back here, in a certain sense, that might help you a little bit, but you're going to foster weak impact habits, because if you do make a good impact, you're going to have way too much downward hit on the ball. So play around with these ideas. Are there some situations to definitely vary it a lot? Sure. If I'm in deep rough with a short iron, I'm definitely playing it back because I want just about all the downward hit I can get. Maybe coming out of a divot would be like that, or a knockdown shot against a lot of wind. If I'm driving the ball downwind, I'm teeing it higher, I'm hitting more up on it. And so, but get to know your patterns, play around with it, find out what works for you, and you'll be a better golfer for it.